Hey there, Mark Brown. We just got back from NSA. We had so much fun, met a lot of people. You and I did a breakout session, a little live coaching, and we met some really cool, fascinating people who were in our session and then hung out with us. And Mark, I want to just kind of explore why the famous Jim Rohn quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," what it does for you. And this podcast is an opportunity for you for free to listen to us, stay connected to us, get our insights. When I met Brian Tracy for the first time, it was like, I already know this guy. Now, he didn't know me, but I knew him because I had spent so much time with him in my car, and his ideas became in my head and part of those thoughts, which changed my actions, which changed my results. Mark, any quick thoughts?
Well, I think today we'll get a taste of what that looks like on the other side. Let's do this, Darren.
Anyone can give a presentation. Few deliver unforgettable presentations. What's the difference? You're about to find out. Welcome to the Unforgettable Presentations Podcasts with your hosts, world champion speakers and coaches Mark Brown.
Your life tells a story, and there's someone out there who needs to hear it.
And Darren LaCroix.
Stage time, stage time, stage time.
Ready for some powerful presentation ahas? Let's dive right in.
All right, Mark Brown, let's introduce Julia Nicholson, who is a new friend, and we've been working with her a little bit. But Julia, welcome to the podcast, Unforgettable Presentations.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, you're so fun. Okay, now before NSA, you didn't even know us, right? You never heard of us or anything, or?
Never heard of you, didn't know you. Correct.
Mark, we got to work on our marketing here.
I know. How is that possible?
And I ran into you at church, said hello, we had a little conversation, and then you ended up coming to our session. So just first tell us, like, what is your topic? So I know your goal is to help the next generation and youth. Tell us a little bit about that so we have some context.
Yes, my goal is to help. It's really to champion the next generation and help them build confidence, courage, and resilience. And so my focus on that area to build that has to do with this whole idea of having to find or tap into or unleash your power. And I recognized in my life with the experiences I've had that methodology, that philosophy, that idea, that mainstream thinking actually held me back. I kept thinking that I didn't have something other people had, that I was missing something, or that, oh my gosh, I'm already depleted enough. My confidence is low. My self-esteem is low. I have a lot of doubt. And what I began to realize is it's not that any of us have to find or tap into our unleash your power. The real thing is we're already using the inner power that we have. The catch is that most of us are using it in a way that breaks ourselves down, that tears ourselves up. I mean, it's like it hurts us instead of helps us. And so what I am talking about and what I am empowering the next generation with is literally these power tools, these mind shifts, to use the power that they're already fueling, but shift it, to direct it in a way that literally builds themselves up and gives them that confidence, that courage, and that resilience to achieve the goals that they want to achieve.
And I know you were a CEO in Hollywood, high level, working in corporate, and you decided to leave that to pursue speaking. What? Why would you do that?
That is true. And actually, technically, I didn't leave that career specifically to pursue speaking. When I left that career, I just knew that I had something that I needed to do to help the next generation. And I started off thinking that I was going to speak about what I've learned. And that became, oh my gosh, you need to write a book. And one thing led to another. And what I recognized is the most purposeful thing I can do is use speaking to impact wide audiences and kind of infuse them with my passion and my purpose and relatability, to be able to touch them and give them, walk them through how to use these tools that they can start using immediately. So yes, I
Wow.
did walk away from that career. People think I'm crazy. I do not. I know this is exactly where I'm supposed to be and why.
Nice. Well, welcome to Crazy Town.
Thank you. I'm hoping I'll fit right in.
Well, Julia, you said something very briefly, almost inflating, that got my attention. It sounds as if, I'm paraphrasing now, you left what one would think to be the perfect working environment to pursue your purpose. And I think that's really key for us to understand why we choose the people we hang out with, why we choose to associate with certain groups, organizations, and individuals. Because when I'm hearing you say you wanted to pursue your purpose, I'm going to make the assumption, and I should never assume, but the idea of using the gift of speech led you then to the National Speakers Association, or NSA, as we lovingly call it. Is that correct, or is that correct?
You're absolutely spot on. And I did. I was in a position at the pinnacle of my career, a sought out position for anybody in my industry, and had, I mean, given my background with financial insecurity and instability, there were a lot of people that couldn't understand why, after chasing success for so long, that I would step away from it.
Mm.
And what I learned is success fills a schedule, but significance fills your soul. And
Mm.
I stepped away to be able to use the gifts I've been given to share my story and what I learned to impact other people, to make a difference in their lives, and literally to be significant.
And here's what I noticed is that you are a CEO. Now you have this new sense of purpose. You know pretty clear that you want to work with the next generation and or parents of the next generation to influence the next generation. But what I loved is your heart and your eagerness to want to know how to be a better speaker. Because one of the biggest problems, we always say the biggest problem at the beginning of a speaker's career is self-doubt. The second biggest problem is ego. Ego gets in the way, so they think they're good enough, and they probably are good enough. But I love, because you even told me your goal is to be unforgettable.
Absolutely. And you couldn't be more right, Darren. I have been speaking for at least the past 25 years in business environments, business capacity. And what I recognize is there's a big difference between giving business types of information and being educational and informative, as opposed to be inspirational and unforgettable, so that people use what you're actually giving them to make a difference in their life, and sharing in a different way. And so I sought out the National Speakers Association to literally learn skills that I've never had, even though I've been speaking. So I'm literally jumping off into the deep end, if you will, in this pond, but trying to learn as much as I can, recognizing, especially after seeing you two and talking with you two, and hearing and participating in your session at NSA. I knew there was a lot of things that I didn't know. You all pointed out so many things so quickly. In a good way, it was like drinking from a fire hose, because it just reinforced that I was in the right place in the right session.
Now, that's interesting, Julia, because at the NSA convention called Influence, those of us in the know will know there are myriad sessions at the NSA convention over 4 days. And somehow you chose to come to see the odd couple here, the tall, bald Jamaican guy and the short, bald New Englander, who couldn't be any different, but yet you chose to come to our session on a Sunday afternoon. Now, I think Darren kind of piqued your interest when you were at the NSA worship service at Sunday morning. Had you planned to come to our session originally? I'm just curious.
No, I had not planned. I was still kind of hunting and pecking my way through sessions. But some of the messages that I have heard, either online or reading books or in different workshops or things, is the most important thing that any speaker needs to have is an unforgettable speech. The way they present it, the words that they use, how they use their body language. And so there are so many other people and places and sessions that talk about using AI, or talking about the business side of it, or getting more business, or your website, or so many other things. And so I got to the point where I recognized none of those other things matter. If I have a great website, a great speaker one sheet, if I have good video, none of it matters if I can't deliver that unforgettable, blow them out of the room speech that actually touches their heart. And I know that I'm not at that level yet. And recognizing that, yes, there is a lot of self-doubt. Can I get there? There is a lot of, do I really have anything new to say or unique to say? Or why does my message matter? Or how am I going to do it differently? But I'm convicted. I mean, I'm compelled. I like to tell people, driven is what I chose to be in my career to get to the C-suite and be the CEO. But compelled is what's happened to me with this burning desire that I couldn't stop to help people with what I know. And literally getting to that point where can I absorb as much as I can, learn as much as I can from the people that can help me get to the point where I can deliver an unforgettable, knock it out of the park, blow people out of the room speech.
Well, Julia, before Darren comments, I will say I'm going to make a comment to you that really is for our listeners and for viewers. You are able to identify amidst literally just a fire hose of where do I go next? There's so many concurrent sessions, so many great events happening. We have 4 hours in the main room in the morning, there's a lot going on, but yet you were able to identify for yourself that beyond all the bells and whistles and this really good content that NSA influence, do not get me wrong, amazing presenters, new information. There are exhibitors who have amazing processes and supporting materials. But you said, amidst of all of this, I know I'm going to need an absolutely unforgettable, blow them out of the room presentation. And you identified our session, Own the Stage, How to Be Unforgettable. And you said, I need to be at that one because that will hold for me the tools I'm probably going to need going forward. I say all that to say to our viewers and listeners, be very clear that you know, one, what you're going to talk about, and two, identify the fact that you really do need to continually hone your presentation and make it unforgettable so people are going to remember not only your presentation, and hopefully they'll remember you as well. So Julia, we're thankful that you chose to hang with us for a while, and we hope it's been worth your while. We believe it is, or you wouldn't be here with us on this podcast right now.
And besides the subject, what was it about just meeting Mark and me and talking to us that you said, okay, I'm going to go to that session?
You both were so relatable. You were so attentive. You were so in tune. And I just felt a connection of you guys have the ability to bring out things and in a way that I haven't seen before. And I'm not sure if this is really answering your question, but the one thing that really stuck with me is, and I agree with you, Mark, there are fabulous sessions at National Speakers Association Influence. Absolutely. A lot going on, a lot there for people depending on where they are at their stage in their speaking career. But for me, I know that even though I think, oh, I had this great speech, after listening to you, watching you, seeing what you were able to do in less than an hour that was real, that was tangible. I mean, you guys coached some people in the middle of that session that pointed out things that even though I wasn't the one that was being coached or anyone else in the session, every single one of us walked away from that with usable things. And I recognize that you both come from a heart of givers and not this nickel and dime. I'm going to feed you a little bit as a teaser. Oh, but then by the way, here's this big program, but I'm not going to tell you anything about that. I mean, it was really, I sensed that you had a heart for this, that you are truly in this to help people, to make a difference, to rise the entire tide, right? So that we all rise. And that really resonated with me. I'm a relationship person, not a transactional person. And I was really looking for things that I could learn to take home, tools that I could use. And you guys didn't disappoint. You delivered. I wished I could have stayed in your session longer. I wish it was a 4-hour program. I wish, but I am really glad that out of all of the sea of the sessions that I could have chosen, that I was in yours.
Yeah, Mark, this may be my own ego, but she had said, and I was blown away. She goes, I've been to 2 influences, and this was the best session at both of them. I was like, aw.
That is true. And the best session for anyone who wants tools to walk away with, neither one of you stood up there in this grandeur to say, look how good I am and look what I did. What you both did was stood in your truth and your learning, attentive and in tune to the audience about what can you impart to them? How can you help them? What can you use? And I have to say that that hasn't been always the case, whether it's videos that I've watched, webinars I've joined, people that I have enlisted to help me, not always the same. And you guys, Mark, I think you said something about the odd couple, and I'm going to say you are so far away from the odd couple because you actually complement each other. And what you picked up off of each other instantly, seamlessly, picking up things from that the audience could use just by someone else's example or just by something the other of you said. So it's a perfect combination of win-win. And yes, there were sessions that I didn't get as much out of as I hoped, to be politically correct. And yes, after 2 influence conferences, yours truly is the one that I have gotten the absolute most of that has made a difference for me. I've already started tweaking the signature speech that I thought, wow, okay, this is great. And I'm learning, it was good. It was okay. It was decent, but it's not unforgettable. It's not blow it out of the park. And I recognized instantly, even when you were coaching the other people for those couple of minutes where you let people share, I got things out of that, even though it wasn't my speech, even though you weren't coaching me directly. You actually were. You were making a difference.
And out of respect to my fellow NSAers, A, I'm being playful here, and B, notice that we were the right session because of where she was, what she was looking for,
Yes.
what she wanted to get out of it. Other people, they're looking for demo reel insights, AI insights, build their business insights. So again, just to clarify and respect to my fellow presenters at NSA and Mark.
Yes, no, absolutely. And thank you, because there were a lot of valuable things, but for anybody listening, one of the most important things as a speaker, whether you're new or seasoned, or number one, you can always up level your game. Number two, one of the most important things in expending your resources, time, talent, and money, is to know where you are in the process. And there have been so many things that I'm trying to absorb that are coming at me that not knowing actually where to start was a key. And what I have learned the hard way, and hopefully I help someone else on the learning curve, the most important thing you can do, as Mark said, is get clear on what it is that you want to share. What is it that's so passionate and purposeful about you and the audience that you want to make a difference in? Once you have those two, now that next piece is literally to get really clear, to have the unforgettable speech that everything else builds from. And that has made all the difference for me to focus my time and my talent and my energy, right? I mean, there was so much that kind of started to suck the life out of me, kind of deflate me and weaken my spirit. And you guys literally were the wind beneath my wings. It was a breath of fresh air to be able to say, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and this is exactly where I need to be focusing on right now. And I can't thank you enough for that. And yes, there were a lot of valuable things at NSA. When I'm ready for them, I will be able to use those tools, but I'm not ready for them yet.
And specifically in the session, what were 1 or 2 takeaways for you, either when we were coaching people live or when we were explaining the must-have and must-avoids? What were a couple of those takeaways?
Oh, sure. One of the first ones that I think everyone in the room saw themselves in is one of the speakers that had gotten up and shared with you their 2 minutes or whatever. One of the things that they did in their speech that they say right now is, how many of you have? And you instantly helped us all see that our speech is supposed to be to an audience of one, but serving all. And you actually helped us instantly with, how about if you change that wording? Instead of how many of you have, just stay with, have you ever? And all of a sudden it was instant light bulb that, oh my gosh, I'm saying that too. How many of you have? Raise your hand. Well, that doesn't feel personal to anyone. That's probably one of the first things that stuck with me. One of the others, and I could go on, but I'll limit it to 2, was that you talked about how matching your facial expressions with what you're sharing, as well as the space that you're taking up on the stage you're in. Which way are you looking? Which way are you moving? Which way are you pointing? Are you moving toward the audience or away from them? Are you using the stage to indicate something in the past or something in the future? And both of those were so valuable, especially for me. And I can start using those immediately. And of course, what did I do? I started looking at my speech and saying, oh my gosh, how many times have I said, how many of you have, please raise your hand, how many of you, as opposed to, have you ever, which of course sounds more personal, but until someone who's experienced and knowledgeable about it can coach you and help you and see that, for me, it's really hard for me to see those things because I'm too far in the forest. So those are just two ideas or two things that stuck.
You know, I really appreciate that, Julia. And as we look at the idea of who you hang out with, we're pleased you chose to hang out with us for dinner one night and also to spend some time with us here. But we all have had points in our career and still do where we appreciate getting access to individuals who have helped us and served us. Those of you who are new to Darren and me may not know that we wrote a book. We co-wrote a book called Deliver Unforgettable Presentations. See the branding there? And there's your copy. Yeah, thank you. For those on video, you'll see Julie holding the book up. We co-wrote that with Patricia Fripp, who is an NSA legend. And she was quickly in our top 5. We got a chance to work with her through Darren, of course. We put her in our top 5. And as Jim Rohn says, you're the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. Certainly professionally, we've had the blessing of her tutelage, her wisdom, her mentoring, and she has helped to lift us. And we counted our responsibility to also help and lift others. And I guess one of the questions is, who are you listening to? Who are you hanging out with? Part of my story, very, very briefly, and many who listen to us know the story, that I was competing in the Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking back in 1994. Did not win, did not place, did not show. This horse was an also-ran. But amidst that disappointment, someone approached me and said, you have potential. If you're willing, let me help you. That was David Brooks, the 1990 world champion. Now, I'm thinking, I have access to a world champion offering to help me. Guess what? Who's in my 5? That list has now changed. And I was able to learn from him over a course of a year and go on to win the world championship. And Darren knows this. One of the experiences that to this day still boggles my mind is the knowledge that David Brooks made himself available to other individuals in that contest who, like me, did not win a trophy. But I was the only one who said yes to him and put him in my speaking top 5. I returned to that contest in 95 as the only finalist in 94 to return. None of the others got back to the finals. I don't know where they are to this day. I was the only one who made it to the final. I was the only one to win a trophy. And I was the only one who said yes to an opportunity to have an expert in my top 5. I think the point is made, and I'll be quiet right now.
Yeah, and I think, Mark, too, this is just, I don't know. I have never talked to any of the other 9 that he approached or 8 that he approached. But I'd be willing to bet that some of them thought, I got there once, I can get there again. I don't need his help. Now, again, I don't know. I'm surmising. I'm extrapolating. 5 syllables, Mark.
All right, Darren, go for it, man.
And I used it right properly in this. Anyway.
It's interesting that you guys are saying that because it's so true that in so many other professions, choices that we want to make about things that we want to do in life, we seek out the best information that we can, right? I mean, people go to the best schools or the best vocation or the people to learn the best they can. And for some reason, I think as speakers, I don't know that it's almost as if you have this idea of, well, I've been speaking since I was a baby when I started speaking. So clearly I can speak. I think not realizing that it's actually a craft. It's actually a skill. It's something that you develop. It's something that you learn and learn more every time. It's an iterative process, right? And continuing to learn. And I think that coupled with the many areas of which you can get some information from people that are not necessarily as knowledgeable or as experienced or as successful speakers. I'm not sure that that's necessarily helpful, meaning I think it's important to be with people that match your personality, that lean in, that have already reached pinnacles that you would like to reach, right? That you see what they've done and they embody what you aspire to be, and how you aspire to inspire people, I think is really critical. And I think that fit, right? That willingness to lean in on both sides, right? Leave the ego out for the speaker coming up, right? I mean, I look at myself, and yes, I've had this wonderful career and I was very successful in it, and I'm very thankful. But I'm starting from scratch as a baby learning to walk in this one, and willing to take a step back and say, okay, I'm going to be a sponge. Please teach me anything you can. I want to learn, and I'm focused on the outcome. So absolutely huge, Mark, with what you said, and that you leaned in and put him in as among your five. I mean, I'm honored, because I think it needs to be said. I'm honored that you're willing to let me into your circle to be a part of the individuals that you help and that you coach.
Well, I'm going to push back. You're not really starting from zero because you have a lot of corporate experience. Now, that is different. It's a different lane, but you're not having this panic-stricken fear of public speaking. You're not like, the stage doesn't scare you. Maybe a little bit of anxiety, but we all have that. But I'm just going to push back on that one part. Now, it's a different lane. It's a different outcome that you're looking for. So I love that you notice that. You're willing to start over, if you will. But I want to just remind you, you're not starting at zero. Okay? You're starting much higher than that. But that's just a launch pad. Now, we talked about the session, and it just happened that we were going to dinner, you were going to dinner, and we ended up grabbing dinner together. And tell us about just sitting there, again, being in the top five. Hey, you're hanging out with us, having dinner. We're listening to your story. How did that affect your thoughts?
Well, first of all, the fact that you were even interested in having dinner together gave me this sense of you wanted to lean in, you wanted to learn more, and you made yourselves available to do that. That speaks volumes to how just that alone provides like encouragement, and it uplifts you, and it helped me have a little bit more belief in myself that maybe I do have something worth sharing. Maybe there is a way. I've had a lot of false starts, and so it was getting pretty depleted. So just that alone. But then sitting at dinner, you asked me just a few questions that prompted me to share a lot of things, but you listened with a heart. I didn't get this sense of, oh gosh, she's boring me, or oh, she's rambling on, even though I know I talked for a long time. But you leaned in and you asked questions about it. You were really genuinely interested in getting to know me and my story. And I did not feel like it was for anything other than genuine interest. It was me as a person, and you were willing to share about yourselves as well. And I really liked that part of it. And you made me feel comfortable. You made me feel like I was the only person in the room that you wanted to hear from or talk to, even though the restaurant was crowded, lots of things going on. And I really liked that. I mean, it was comfortable. It was relaxed. And I'm sitting here with these two icons that I'm thinking they've forgotten more about speaking than I will ever know. And here they are sitting with me, giving up their free time in the evening when I know they have to be exhausted with everybody coming at them. And there was just a lot of energy in that. And I can't thank you enough for it.
Well, just to be clear, we did care about talking to the waiter too, the server.
Adam, yeah.
Fair enough.
Weren't the
Fair
only one, but primarily. Now here's, again, we talked about the session. This is dinner. Mark, any insights on dinner before I move to the next?
Very, very quickly, For context, Julia and friends, I had a similar experience at NSA years ago. I got to sit at dinner with a legend who actually bought me dinner with two other individuals, a guy named Les Brown, who is literally a living legend in the NSA. I never forgot that. I just posted a photo of Les Brown and Willie Jolly and myself from 2011. But Les Brown actually bought me dinner. I'm like, I would buy you dinner because you're Les Brown. And he sat with us, and there were over four of us there. Very good conversation. He very good conversation. He leaned in, he listened, and I built a kind of relationship with him. But I know I have Les Brown's number, he has mine. And I've called him on the phone and talked with him a few times. But the idea that he was able to, be a part of my upper echelon in my speaking journey was to me just a blessing. And we don't say, okay, let's see, who can we pretend to be Les Brown with? That's not the idea. We understand and we appreciate what we have gleaned from the greats who have gone before us. And if we can serve in some way, and we saw your heart, we saw your drive, we saw your desire to learn and to ingest and it was pleasant. We had a good relationship. We had a good rapport. And that's kind of one of the keys as well. If you can establish a good rapport and be available and be willing to learn, it'll be helpful. I quickly will say this. Darren LaCroix, when I first met, he was you. He was in the front row of my session, and he met me afterwards. We kind of hung out together. And at first, he was like, Mark can help me with a few tweaks here and there. But the sponge in him finally came out, and we really built that relationship. That was 24 years ago, and here we are, still hanging out together after all this time. Darren.
All right. So
that's wonderful. I just want to inject one thing, Darren, that I want to acknowledge that not only was I among icons and giants sitting at the table and honored, but I would have bought you dinner and then some, and you bought me dinner as well. And how cool is this? It's kind of this continually pay it forward, if you will, with your heart. And I hope to be able to be in that position someday, to be able to do the same thing, to what I've learned, what I've known, and how I can help. But yes, not only did you give of yourselves and your heart and bought me dinner, but you still continue to lean in, even by inviting me on today. So thank you for that. Thank you.
All right. So we talked about the session itself.
Darren wants to get back to. Sorry about that.
Talked about no. Perfect. We talked about dinner. Okay, now you took our book home, Deliver Unforgettable Presentations. But here's what I want people to realize: the seeds we planted, the ideas, as you said, the wind beneath your wings, the hope that we gave you, the encouragement we gave you. How did that affect your thoughts, like on your way home, the next day?
Sure. I didn't want to go to sleep. I wanted to start reading the book immediately. I wanted to start doing all the exercises. I wanted to just like ramp up as fast as I could, and couldn't wait to dig in. It's like, okay, oh my gosh, I've got a little bit now of momentum. And so literally motivating, very motivating.
Sweet. So it continued to affect the time we spent with us lives on, meaning, when I listened to Brian Tracy tapes, he would give me a relatable story, emotional, and then later on, I'm not listening to the tapes anymore. By the way, for your younger, cassette tapes, Google it. But I would then go out, I would do something or see something that would remind me of that story. And it impacted me then, later on, at that moment. Mark, one of the things I love is what you taught me about telling stories, and telling the story about Vinny, where he said, any day you don't get on stage is a day that you don't grow. And he said, if you ever turn down stage time, I never help you again. So the fact that I tell that story in dialogue, him saying it, I have had countless people come up to me or send me an email later saying, hey, I had this opportunity to speak. I was going to say no. Then I remembered the words of your mentor. So my mentor spoke through me to them. It wasn't me telling them. It was the wisdom that was given to me in dialogue as we teach. And that's what stuck. And so it has Vinny doesn't even realize how many people he's impacted because he spoke to me through me.
And that is so true. I mean, I had an opportunity, a very short window of less than 40 days when I received an invitation to give a TEDx talk. And it was absolutely my target market because the first TEDx talk I gave was general. This one was specific, a TEDx youth talk. And I, instead of jumping at it and saying, absolutely, I'll do it, that perfectionist tendency in me kicked in. Well, I don't know if I can be ready. I don't know if I'll be able to deliver it. I don't know. And then there was a little voice in my head, probably a big commanding one, just like when I left my corporate career of, Julia, this is your target audience. These are the people you want to help. Even if you're not perfect, even if you don't have it solid, even if, get out there and do what you can in those 18 minutes to make a difference. And I got over myself and I did. And I'm glad that I did. And I can say that I did it again, short notice. This one was 8 days to get up and give a 10-minute talk in a competition, no less, that shared what was my ignite moment. What was it? That moment that I decided to leave my corporate career and do what I'm doing now. And again, it was, okay, get over your perfectionist tendencies to deliver that perfectly worded, every word scripted speech and get out there and do your best. And I've learned a lot from it, but you're absolutely right. There's no substitute for actually getting on that stage with the lights, with the cameras, with the people. And I'm glad that I did it. I have the video. And you asked what happened after I left the NSA influence and left your session. Of course, I start critiquing myself, my speech. One of the things that I remember that you both said in that session was the punchline needs to go last. The punch goes last. Well, of course, now I'm tearing apart my speech that I do have of, do I have the punchline last? Well, now I'm in the position of, I'm still trying to figure out what the punch is in that sentence, right? It's like, oh my gosh, but so yes, what you're saying is true. It really works. It really makes a difference. And for anybody contemplating, do I need coaching? Could coaching help me? I cannot say yes loud enough.
Well, I'd like to clarify the right coaching. Not all coaching is made the same.
No, hands down. And thank you for that clarification. Yes, the right coaching with the right people, with the right fit, with the right. I mean, I'm in this position where my goal is to impact people and I'm wedded to the outcome. My goal is different than maybe other speakers of the audience that they want to speak to or the income level or they're focusing on. And so it is important to literally find the coaches that you align best with that are right for you. And that is critical. And in fact, I think that's even more critical than somebody who has a skill set they can share. Because if they're not aligned, it might be really tough to get what you need to take your speaking to the next level.
Yeah, it's not easy to receive feedback. Because I asked for it. I'm working on another book. I asked for it and they send it to me and I really don't want it. When I open up, I'm like, because then there's more work to do. I know I need it. I receive it, but it's like, I just want them to pat me on the head and say, it's great. Wouldn't change a thing. That's not going to happen. And when you and I were speaking, Julia, you were also telling me where you're at and what you're working on. And as you remember, I know, hey, I'm a coach, but I know what I have as my ninja skill is not what you need now. Right now, what you need is Mark Brown and the structure and the story and putting it together. That's not my strength. And if I was to take a coaching call from you, yes, I would receive the income, but I would also resent it on my calendar because it's not my strength. And I would be doing it for the money more than the help. If somebody's working on, staging or characters, now it's exciting to me. So now I'm not only going to do better, the coachee is going to receive more. And then one more thing, like I love, Mark, that you said she was me back in the day. And think about this. If you want to be unforgettable and you want to attract great coaches, great mentors. It's the effort you put in. It's the willingness to put yourself in uncomfortable places. Because I didn't realize at the time that I attracted Vinny because I was willing to drive 2.5 hours to go on stage for 5 minutes for free. So I was doing things that other people weren't. As a mentor, I want to help the people who will take what I give them and go do it. That's who I want to help. And that's one of the reasons, like, we could see your heart, Julia. We could see that you have that passion, that you want to help. So we know you're going to do something with it. Otherwise, I'd rather go have dinner, just Mark and me.
Sure.
But I didn't know you were going to buy. If I knew you were going to buy, well.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Darren, and spot on that helping speakers is just as important to stay in your lane as a speaker staying in their lane about what they speak about. And my experience has been there's a lot of people that instead of being very clear about what their special skill or their special gift is to help a speaker, they put it out there to do it all. As opposed to, there's a big difference between story and structure and crafting that than there is between stage presence and making sure that you have the stage movements, that there is for doing a video and what it is that you need in the video. And I wish I would have known when I first started that. Since I know it now, I'm laser focused. But yes, to make sure that the person that you are working with has the skill set, as you called it, that ninja skill set, and they're honest about it, right? To say, you know what, yeah, I could coach you, but that's not really my passion. That's not really what I'm best at. Here's what I'm best at. And so being able to, it's not a one size fits all and a one stop shop. And, I do consulting, and I'm really clear about, even though I've worked at this level, my sweet spot is not helping you with technology, even though, yes, I implemented systems. Yes, I did this, but that's not my sweet spot. But I can help you find somebody who is really good at it, right? So knowing what it is that coach is best at, and they're comfortable with it, because it made me feel really, really comfortable when both of you were very clear about what your strengths are. And you said that right up front in the session when you first started the session. And I liked that. You weren't trying to be all things to all people. And here we are, and here we can do all of this for you. You were pretty clear about what your strengths are and what you like. And I really appreciate, I respect that. That's integrity. That's ethics. And that's critical.
Not very well known fact is that 30 years ago, when I was competing in the Toastmasters World Championship, I had not one, but 3 coaches. One was David Brooks, who is an absolute wordsmith. I called him the master mentor. But I spent some time with a couple, I believe they're both gone now, from New York, Robert and Randy Gedalia, who were both also presenters and speaker coaches. And they worked with me on stage presence. I knew absolutely nothing about using the stage. And they worked with me for hours that very same week of the contest. So I went to the finals with David Brooks' wisdom in my ear and physical presence, but also what I learned from Robert and Randy Gedalia about stage presence. And it was really helpful for me to find the right people who were best qualified for the right aspect of my presentation. And now I enjoy working really hard with Darren, and we work together a lot. We coach CEOs together. And we know what our strong skill sets are, so much so that I've become fondly known by one of our largest clients as Machete Mark, because I help them edit their scripts down to size, to be concise, hit the punch word. It's a process, but we really enjoy it.
That's so important. I mean, when somebody has a medical issue, they go to a specialist, right? And same thing with legal. They go to a specialist, an individual that specializes in their particular issue, concern, situation. And I think as a newer speaker, we need to know that. We need to and recognize it. And I think speaking, as I said, it almost gets put in a different category because people have been speaking since they were, a toddler. And it's different. It's one thing to speak. It's another thing to be unforgettable when you speak.
I almost want to end it on that note, but I have one little subject that we're not going to name names, but I just feel like I don't have any children, so I feel like Papa Bear, that sometimes I need to protect speakers, emerging speakers. Whereas you, again, we don't want to reference people, but you had a bad taste in your mouth because a celebrity speaker, someone came up and approached you and said he or she wanted to work with you, and then like sent you a, let's just say, 3-figure invoice to work with this person. And I know that took the wind away from your sales. And part of I want to hear your thoughts, but part of my caution to everyone is that just be careful. There are people out there who want to capitalize on the fact that you have a dream and you have a passion. And if you're later on in life, you probably have some income saved up that you could share with them. So Mark and I were very clear. Hey, this is what we do. Here's our rates. If you want to be a part of Stage Time, which is an affordable way to work with us and get coached, here it is. But let's just help you. So we were upfront about it. We're not, Mark, maybe we need to make it a 3-figure invoice.
I think you meant 6 figures, Darren. I think you meant 6 figures.
Sorry, yes. I meant after the comma. 6 figures.
You forgot the comma, Darren.
So, yeah. So, Julia, just how did that make you feel? Because I know you were excited at first.
I was really excited, right? That out of the entire audience, that I was the one that was chosen, and it was really heady. It was really uplifting. And it's like, no, you know what? I want to help. You can be my protege. I want to do what I can. And yes, I see. And you've now been given a gift, and God is shining on you. And this is an opportunity that only comes along. And so I was so excited because I was at a point where I felt like I'm a horse in the Kentucky Derby. I've done the training. I have a good jockey. I have a great horse. I'm in the gate. I'm waiting for the gate to open. And I kept having things that was just sucking the energy and the life out of me. And so this was like this huge, oh my gosh, this is great. I can't believe it. This person of all people, this massively successful speaker all over the world. And so I was really excited. And after multiple meetings, and I will say that it took time out of my NSA influence because the meetings were happening then. When I got that invoice or the contract, the agreement, I was stunned at first. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be free, but I thought it would be maybe more reasonable. And it literally just pulled all the wind out of my sails and literally put me just so discouraged, face down, thinking, I can't do this. This is not doable. And that actually was harmful for me. It set me back again, thinking, if it takes that kind of money to be able to get the coaching, the skills, the input that I need, then I need to throw in the towel. I can't do that. And I don't know how other people do it, but they must found a way. So it made me feel one more time less than, not enough, not good enough. And it took me a little while to pick myself back up off the floor.
Wow. And I wanted you to share that because chances are you're not the only one. And I always caution people. I get these LinkedIn, as Richard Bliss calls it, pitch slapped by people saying, hey, I see you're a speaker and I'm going to get you, 10 speeches at $10,000 or whatever wording they do. And I always ask them, hey, well, how often do you get paid and what's your fee? And man, the discussion changes.
I think you've brought up a really good point that, yes, it comes at you from all sides. And I think for me, because I'm a skeptic analytic, so I check everything away from Friday, I actually started questioning my ability to choose well. And what it's also created for me is now I'm really hesitant to lean in really quickly because, gosh, if I missed that mark so many times now, because it's not you, Mark, not Mark Brown, I missed hitting the right level of person or organization to help me. And it was one in a series. I had the same issues with help for my website, the same issues with help for a video, the same issues with help for my social media, the same issues with help for my book. And so this was just one in a series. And it made me really skeptical. And I'm a trusting person, and I thought I dotted the I's and crossed the T's and checked references and did my due diligence. So if there's anyone else out there that's feeling like, yeah, I have a bad picker, I get it. And I will share with you that it's not you. And so don't beat yourself up over it. And you'll know then the next time to be a little more aware of your gut and what your gut is telling you and how you're feeling with that connection. And so that to me is really important. And as I said, I'm a relationship person, not transactional. And once that happened, it instantly felt to me transactional. And I thought, okay, anyway, so yes, you're
It
spot
breaks
on.
my heart when people have the wind taken out from beneath their wings, because it's sometimes in the speaking world, even though we have NSA, we have stage time, our stage time family, we have friends, and sometimes we feel alone, because of that factor. And then doubt creeps in like an avalanche, and now we slow down. We set that back. But everyone, if you're listening to this, please do your due diligence. Reach out to the person. If you're not sure if this is a good person, buy their book, spend $20. Now you're only $20 in, and now you can get a feel while you're reading that book. Ooh, is this somebody I want to work with? They got testimonials. Look up the people who gave the testimonials, but listen between the lines. Listen between the lines. I did that there was a testimonial of someone I was considering for marketing me. And it was a large investment it was going to be, but I saw someone that used a testimonial and I knew that person, and I reached out, and just in the conversation, they said, yes, I gave that testimonial, but, and then they continued, and I was like, okay, nope, next. So anyway, I want to honor your time, Julia. Mark, thanks for being here. Mark, do we have a recap this time, or?
Couple of quick thoughts that were shared today. Just the idea, the concept of living your purpose, not so much for success, but living your purpose was wonderful. I like this line: success will fill your schedule, but significance will fill your soul. And that's a call for all of us to re-examine the why we do what we do. What's our motivation? What really fills our soul? It's one thing to be compelled to do something, but when you're driven, it's a whole different ballgame. I'm paraphrasing that one, Julia, of course. Always know where you are on your speaker journey and the process, and work from that place. Work really hard to develop your craft. Lean in and learn. There's no substitute for getting on stage, and get help. Find the coach who's the right fit for you. And above all, create an unforgettable, blow them out the door speech.
Nice.
See, clearly I need your help, Mark, because you were able to synthesize it down, and I am very wordy. But you did a
Julia,
great job.
what's that line you say all the time? Ask me what time it is, and
Yeah, I'll tell you how to make a watch.
But you also know that's part of who you are. So
Yes.
knowing you need the help, and that's why Machete Mark comes to the rescue. So Julia, if somebody wants to, what were your TED Talks? If somebody want to look up your TED Talks,
Sure.
what's
The first
title?
the first TED Talk is titled "The Way We Think About Loss and Grief is Dead Wrong." And in it, I challenged it.
You went through an experience with your husband that gave you the right to talk about that. That's one. What's the other one?
Yes, I actually have been through lots of experiences, but the whole purpose of that talk is to challenge the mainstream thinking that number one, time heals all wounds, and it's not time, it's how you use the time that makes the difference. And the second is when you have loss, people think that loss in general is death, but loss is so much more. It can be the loss of your self-confidence, the loss of your job, the loss of a pet, the loss of your safety, your financial stability. There are so many others. And finally, these two are a package deal. If you've experienced any type of loss, you're going to feel grief for the rest of your life. And I really wanted to share with people that it doesn't have to be true just because that's the mainstream thinking of the conventional wisdom. And I wanted to challenge that. And I wanted to actually give people tools that may help them if the 5 stages of grief don't. And so that's what that talk was about. And that's what my book, Move Forward Stronger, is about also.
And the other TED Talk?
The second TED Talk that I gave that isn't out yet, but it should be soon. It takes a little while. I just gave it about 8 weeks ago. It's called "What If the Power You Trust Most is Working Against You?"
That's interesting. Nice. And where would we find you on social media or your website, julianicholson.com?
Yes, julianicholson.com. Yes, absolutely. I'm also on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn, and you can find all of those connections on my website, as well as both of my TED Talks and information about how do you shift your power? How do you make the things that you're already using work for you to build yourself up instead of tear yourself down?
And especially if you know someone who puts together youth conferences or has a youth group, please reach out to her. That's her passion. And she is a powerhouse. And Mark, you talked about we're the odd couple, that you're much taller than I am. Well, Julia makes me look tall. So I appreciate I love hanging out with her because I feel tall. And
She's
by the way,
petite, Darren. She's petite.
she's petite. See,
I want to just make a maybe obvious note, but state it. The fact that you two invest your time and your energy and your heart and your passion into just doing this podcast to help other people. It's clear that you're walking the talk. You're living what you are trying to help other people do. And that is make a difference in the world. And you're not asking anything from them in return. And that, I think, is just, I mean, that's gold, right? To find people to work with that are willing to do that. And I just want to thank you. I mean, you're doing such a huge service for your listeners and so many people out there that are in the same place I am or feeling the same things. You're giving them some hope. And so I just want to thank you for what you're doing. You are a huge blessing. And thank you, thank you, thank you. It makes a difference.
thank you. And we may even have Julia back. We're inspired. I heard of another speaker who was wondering, is it too late to become a speaker? Too late in her career, too late in her life? And then Julia, you have some insights on that. So we're going to bring you back for that one. So is it too late to be great as a speaker? We're going to cover that, dive in with our other friend, Maria, and get her perspective on that. But thanks, Julia, for being here. Thanks for giving your heart and for being that inspiration to be a sponge. Hold on.
I'm going to go find a sponge now.
Be a sponge.
There you go. All right.
All right. So thanks. Please pass this along to anyone you may know, whether you're watching it on YouTube or on one of the podcast platforms. We love what we do. You want to join us in Stage Time? It's a great way to get lots of wisdom and world-class techniques, as well as some personal coaching. We call it duo coaching. And you can always go to getaspeakingcoach.com, where you can see Mark and his ninja skill, and all of the coaches from Stage Time. We list what their ninja skills are. So if you're looking for that coach, I may not be the right person for sure. That's why I told Julia, Mark's your guy. So thanks again for being here. We'll see you next week. Join us.
Hey there, this is Darren LaCroix. Thanks for checking out this podcast episode on YouTube. If you want all of them, not every one is on YouTube, check out your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode. Keep being a sponge so you can be unforgettable.
Check out StageTimeUniversity.com, where good presenters become unforgettable.